Well, the Chiefs, after losing the Super Bowl in the three-peat to the Eagles in blowout fashion, being down by as many as 40-6. Now, is this Super Bowl the biggest disappointment in Super Bowl history? Let's talk football. All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the All Round Sports Podcast, where sports are everything on this channel. I'm your host, Antonio. Today, we are talking about the Super Bowl runner up, the Kansas City Chiefs. After failing to pull the historic three-peat to the hands of the Philadelphia Eagles, that basically whooped them with a belt. And this Chiefs team was on the cruise ship just thinking they could win it all, but did not expect Philly to be the one thing standing in their way. But the question is, with this Super Bowl loss, is this Kansas City Chiefs squad the biggest disappointment in Super Bowl history? Now, I'm going to talk about this here in just a second. But before we get started, though, if you guys do enjoy this video, please be sure to do me a favor and smash the like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. But for now, let's talk about the Chiefs. The Chiefs. I do believe this is the biggest disappointment in Super Bowl history. Let me explain why. We all know about the 2007 New England Patriots. They were undefeated throughout the entire regular season, made it to the Super Bowl before they eventually fell to the New York Giants. But the last team that went undefeated to win a Super Bowl was the Miami Dolphins back in the 1970s. But the Chiefs are in this category for a whole different reason. They had a chance to be the first team in the Super Bowl era to three-peat. They failed that opportunity. And this is by far a whole nother level of disappointment. The Kansas City Chiefs had won close games all year. They mainly some 7 of those playoff games that they won out of the 9 have been by one possession games. But all year, we were talking about this Chiefs team being suspect. We saw the game against the Carolina Panthers. We saw the game against the Raiders. We saw the game against the Broncos where they had the game winning field goal blocked. But this is a whole different scenario. They had close games every single year you look at, every single game that happened this season. But the main thing that's the determining factor of this team being the biggest disappointment in the Super Bowl history is they had a chance to do something that no team has ever done: the three-peat. Other than, of course, the Green Bay Packers from 65 to 67. That's another story for another day of the Packers. But when you have a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes that performed terrible in the entire game, in the entire first half, this was unacceptable. And let me go over some things from this first half. Patrick Mahomes had recorded for 22 total yards, a first down, and a QBR of 1. Uno. 1. Do you know one quarterback in the entire NFL that has had a QBR of 1 in the entire first half? Let me know if you all have heard of one, because I don't know of one in my time. The Chiefs had one of the best defensive coordinators in Steve Spagnuolo. And not even he could stop the Eagles and that offense that they had, because this was the best team by far in the NFL that they were going against. They had a very similar situation the last year where they beat the 49ers to do it, which I compliment them on that. But the fact that you were the best team in the NFL for parts of the year, you winning against a Houston Texans squad, beat them by a score with two questionable calls, I might add. Then you go out there and beat the Bills by one score, again with some questionable calls, some more than others. But I don't think they're entirely that questionable because I explained this a little bit, but I'm gonna explain a little bit of it now. The catch on the by Kadarius Toney in that AFC Championship game, I do believe it should have been incomplete. But look back at the Week 17 game against the Rams and the Cardinals. Go take a look back at that one on the last drive. And then on the Josh Allen fourth down, where they did not convert it, it has to take indisputable video evidence to overturn that call. But in this case, the Chiefs got manhandled. They didn't just get beat, they got ass whooped. Excuse my language there, but it's true. Each of the Super Bowl losses that the Kansas City Chiefs have suffered have both been blowouts by the Buccaneers and now the Philadelphia Eagles. And for right now, I believe Mahomes has fallen out of the GOAT conversation for now. In maybe 2 to 3 years, he can maybe get back up there. But the 3P was the one thing that we would look at if this had happened as the ultimate determiner between Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. Because it's something that Brady could never do. He never could three-peat. The Chiefs actually were the closest team to three-peating, and they fell short because they went against one of the best defensive cores in the National Football League in the Philadelphia Eagles and absolutely got manhandled. They just got gobbled alive. That was what happened to this Chiefs squad. And I mainly gave them praise when I did to make them fall into my trap, which I said during my Super Bowl reaction. But the Chiefs, they are a bigger disappointment than the 2007 Patriots because they had a chance to do something that no team had ever done. The Patriots, on the other hand, wanted to become the second undefeated team to win a championship right there with the Miami Dolphins. This was a 1 in a million chance. And you blow it by having arguably one of the worst Super Bowl losses that you have ever suffered. You were down by as many as 40-6. And if it weren't for garbage time, you probably would have stayed at 6. Because this is a Chiefs squad that we look at right now as the only threat in the AFC. And with the Bills fans seeing the Eagles beat them down, the Texans seeing them get beat down by the Eagles, with the Ravens seeing them get beat down by the Eagles, now those other teams are looking at something. They saw a weakness, and that is defense against this team. Of course, if your name is not the San Francisco 49ers, because they couldn't do defense well against the Chiefs. But if we look at the AFC, if you don't make the AFC title game the next year, because we know the history of Super Bowl runner-ups. We know the history of that. Most of them have not made it back to the championship game. We look at the 49ers last year with the injury bug. We look at the Philadelphia Eagles with their collapse that they had when you beat them. We look at so many differentiating factors, but most of them have not made it back to the championship games. But I don't think it's entirely impossible for the Chiefs because it is Patrick Mahomes. But for a game to happen this way, to get blown out by as much as you did, to have by far the worst game in Patrick Mahomes' career, it all come from the first half, and Kelsey catches 4 catches. This is a very big embarrassment. And Kelsey is probably looking to retire, which I think he should. Take the girl while you can. Don't get embarrassed again. Because if you do, she'll leave you for good. I know that much for certain. I mean, Tom Brady's ex-wife had to do it because he wouldn't let go of the game. Think about what Kelsey's walking into. He had by far the worst season he's ever had and the worst Super Bowl performance in his career. And you would have had guys on there, Xavier Worthy and DeAndre Hopkins, doing even more than Travis Kelsey, your X Factor, your third down guy. And he was barely a fraction of a factor in this game. The Chiefs are a big disappointment and are the biggest disappointment in Super Bowl history in my mind because they had a chance to do something that no team could, the three-peat, and y'all failed because you got pounded to the living end that you suffered. And if it weren't for garbage time, it probably could have gone even worse. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys think the Chiefs are the biggest disappointment in Super Bowl history? But let me know why or why not down in the comment section below. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to do me a favor and smash the like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, I'll see you all in the next one. Ciao for now.